When it comes to India's potential as a manufacturing hub, you touched upon that during that conversation. So, can Made in India actually replace Made in China? That is the immediate question that arises.
I would like to, look at this as Make in India successful. I think what is really important is for us to really bat to our potential. And as I've said before, if we can work on each of these 6 aspects, on the land, labor, capital, logistics, power, scale, then I think, because the reality today is that our entrepreneurs, especially on the Make in India, manufacturing, face anywhere between 10 to 15%. I think 10 to 15% is an underestimate on each of these inputs in terms of the cost compared to their global peers. You cumulate all of them together, across 6 inputs. If you're facing 15% higher costs, that means your costs are double compared to your global peers. And this is an aspect that actually policy needs to work on. And if that happens, then I have absolutely no doubt that we really can further Make in India very well. I will mention, and this is something which I've covered in the book as well, and that assemble in India is as important as Make in India. Assemble in India for the world is as important as Make in India for the world. And here, let me give you examples let me take the example of the automobile sector. In the 1980s, when Maruti started manufacturing cars, the Maruti 800, it was basically in collaboration with Suzuki. And at that time, all the components used to be manufactured by Suzuki. Those components were basically just brought here and they were assembled here in India. So we started out assembling. But look at over the last 40 years how now the entire, basically there's been backward integration, the entire ancillary sector, the entire components, everything has developed. Right. And similarly, if you look for, see for electronics as well, in the last, that's happening. I think it is important to recognize, many times people say, oh, we have to do the more value added stuff. Of course we have to do that. Yeah. But doing the higher value added stuff is like running. Assembling is like walking. And I think, tell me a kid that basically learned to run before it learned to walk. And then I'll actually be willing to say that let's just move on to the high value added stuff first. So I think, the message therefore is that this is how, if you look at across countries, whether it's a Japan, whether it's a China, whether it's actually, Vietnam or these export houses, if you look at the way in which they grew to become export houses, they grew by first assembling. And then, going on to do. So I think it is this clarity in policy is really important. We need to learn from international experiences. And, if you basically say, without having learned to walk, if you start running, obviously you'll fall on your face. I think this is really critical. So Make in India, at the same time, assemble in India. Yeah. Make in India has to be the goal for sure. But sector by sector, we have to start with assemble in India and quickly look to graduate into Make in India so that the entire ecosystem is actually is done as well.
To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.